Hi guys. So whenever I'm not busy working and basically want to give my mind rest from the computer, I like to do it yourself projects. So I was scrolling through some of my favorite websites and came across these beautiful fabric covered books. They're just perfect for styling on a console or coffee table. But let's be honest, price tag can be a bit much. So one design really stood out to me. It's a fabric book with 4 bold stripes on the side. And immediately it reminded me actually of a book my mom had tossed out. Luckily, I rescued it from the trash before it was gone for good. It was totally falling apart, but made it absolutely perfect for this project. So the book I used measures 207 by 147 millimeters. Since I wanted to create a little frame on the cover for a print, I started outlining a 50mm border. Of course, depending on your book size and design preference, this can be different. To help visualize the final result, I cut out a piece of paper and placed it on top of the book, which I definitely recommend doing. You will see I ended up shortening the rectangle after testing. Then I carefully used a knife to cut out the shape. If you're new to using those tools, please be cautious. Wear working gloves if needed and always cut slowly and steadily. Once the shape was outlined, I began tearing off the paper bit by bit. This step may take a few passes to reach the right depth. Honestly, if you're using a thicker book cover, that's even better. You will see later in the video, if I could go back, I would have left a few more layers intact or glued a thicker piece to the back to support the cutout. I probably should have stopped sooner, but I kept going until I created a full hole. Well, it's still okay. If you want to avoid it though, also damaging the inner pages, definitely place something hard underneath while cutting. So my book was already bound for the bin, so I wasn't too worried. But keep that in mind if you're working with a book in a better condition. To back the cutout, I added a layer of paper. If you're doing this too, use a sturdy cardboard or thick paper, unlike the flimsy one I used, because once glued and the fabric I added, thinner paper can warp. I used regular paper glued to attach it to the back. Now let's pick out the fabric. I had 2 options laying around, one neutral and one with stripes. I decided to go with the striped fabric, and it's time to get started. Since the book was falling apart, I reinforced it a bit with super glue. Then I ironed the fabric, without steam please, to get a smooth surface. Next, I laid my book down and left a border of about 50mm around all sides. If your fabric has a pattern, especially stripes, make sure it's aligned properly before you cut. The final fabric size I used was 30 by 46 centimeters. Now about those 4 stripes on the book spine. I simply divided the book height by 5 and marked my glue spots. Once the glue gun was hot, I basically started applying the lines. I actually redid them a couple of times because I wasn't happy with the thickness. Well, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. So take your time here and go slowly and steady. And if you're using a nicer book, maybe you want to try it on an old one first, or skip this step. Now for the fun part. wrapping the book with fabric using Mod Podge. It's very important to apply just a thin layer, or the glue will seep through the fabric, which doesn't look great, as you will see in my first attempt later in the video. So I pressed the fabric onto the glued surface and then used parchment paper and an iron to help it dry faster. Just be cautious near the hot glue stripes. Do not use the iron on top of them like me, as it leaves dark marks. And I learned it the hard way. Anyway, you continue gluing down to the front and the back as well. And make sure to smooth out any lint trapped underneath. It can show through the fabric. So here was my first attempt. Looked like when I applied too much Mod Podge. As you can see, it bled through. So again, go light with the glue. Once the book was fully covered, it was time to trim the fabric. You can cut slits at the bottom and make a clean 45-degree cuts at the corners. I kind of eyeballed it and you will see it wasn't perfect. So I highly recommend using a ruler, for sharp, clean edges. I also trimmed the fabric border a bit, but that's optional. You can leave it longer if you prefer. To cover the raw edges inside, I glued down the book's first page. This is optional, but it gives a cleaner look, especially if this is a gift or a decor piece. As you will notice, my corner cuts weren't exactly 45 degrees. That's something to improve next time. Also, I didn't leave enough fabric around the bottom edge, so I couldn't tuck it in the spine properly. Another fix I would make in the future. Now it's time to design the cover print. So I jumped into Canva and set up an A4 document or whatever paper size your printer uses. Then I added a rectangle that matched the cutout on my book cover. You can create a few designs to see what fits best. If you have a colored printer, awesome. Mine wasn't working, so I had to use an old black and white printer. So you can browse Pinterest for inspiration, search for illustration, minimal art, whatever you like. And you can also use AI tools to generate an artwork that suits your style. So as you can see here, I created a few designs. I actually used AI and told the AI to create basically outlines for me, so I can go ahead later and basically start coloring the outlines. But that's up to you, of course. If you have already a colored printer, that's perfect. There are endless options for what to add here. You know, you could use a journal clipping, a child's drawing, a seashell from your last vacation. I mean, anything meaningful to you. Think of it as a little blank canvas. And honestly, this would make such a thoughtful gift. Just imagine ordering a standard photo book from your last trip, wrapping it in fabric, and adding a sweet little photo or drawing on the front. It just adds so much personality and charm, and it's just perfect for a coffee table or console table. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this super affordable and meaningful do-it-yourself project, and I will see you in the next one.